We have made our way through a few days of fall camp across many of the campuses across college football. Welcome into the Voice of College Football. We're here on a Thursday night, 6 Eastern. This is our summer festival. This is part of our summer festival schedule here at the Voice of College Football. Monday at noon Eastern time, we take your calls, as well as Thursday at 6, Friday late night. All right, we will do the same this week. All right. Again, check out our live previews of various teams, as we have provided those over the last few days of fall camp previews live. South Carolina and Clemson today. And over the past week, Texas A&M, Penn State, Notre Dame, and LSU. Check those out. Please give me a call at the Voice of College Football. I am here to take your calls, and we are looking at quarterback battles across the nation, and I will drop the link down in the description section here in just a second, or right there in the live chat. Good to see all of you out there. Who do we have here early? Look at that, Tim, right out of the gate. Good to see you, Tim. Hello to you. And yes, fellow college football fanatics, Eric's here. And when you lead off with Tim and Eric, that's a good thing. Tim and Eric, two of our mainstays on Discord. Join us on Discord. Go to Patreon, search MarkRogersTV, sign up there, and I will get you the link and a big welcome from me. And we will talk college football on Discord. What is Discord? It's a big college football chat. That's what it is. It's a big chat room. And I'm looking forward to even expanding it this season. Certainly right now we've got a main national chat, and then we've got all the conferences divided. And yes, Pac-12 fans, you will be happy to know we are still considering you a Power 5 conference. So you still have a chat room with the Voice of College Football. There's been so much debate over the last several weeks over when will we know that the Pac-12 has maintained its power conference status. I think we just hit it right there. As long as it stays in the Voice of College Football Discord as a separate chat room, along with the Big Ten and the SEC and the ACC and the Big 12, as long as the Pac-12 maintains that chat room status in the Voice of College Football Discord, I think that's what the College Football Playoff Selection Committee is looking for. So we control that. All right. Yeah, Tim, Eric, and others here in the chat. Join us on a regular basis on Discord. And guess what? These guys fire up. They're lunatics. They fire up these after show parties on Discord, so you can join them there. And they are promising me, and they're promising you, most importantly, they are promising you watch parties this season. While I've got my nose to the grindstone on Saturday from noon until whenever, of course, knocking out all the games and providing my instant analysis and all the call-in shows throughout the day. You can join those guys for watch parties. More to be announced on that later. R.W. Tyndall's here. Good to see you. Can't say hi to everybody here, of course. That's all we'll do. We do have a Miami show coming up at 8 Eastern time as well. Was that? No, that would be this way, huh? I'm looking to fall asleep a little bit earlier tonight, maybe. That might help. J-Dub, good to see you, and others. Hummus Hero, don't want to leave off anyone. Kenneth, good to see you as well. All right, before we get to the phone calls, again, we can talk about anything that you'd like to talk about concerning college football. We are wide open to talk about whatever you want. And I would point you to the South Carolina and Clemson. Man, that Clemson show with both Brian Knight and Jason Priester, that was a phenomenal show that we just concluded a few hours ago. Clemson Live and South Carolina Live with Chris Phillips, both fall camp special editions for you. Those were great shows, so check those out. but taking your calls tonight, and it's wide open. I like to put a topic out there. So quarterback battles in the spring. In the spring. I think part of what I say is so automatic, and it's come out of my mouth so many times, and it's typically spring quarterback battles. No, it is August. It's urgent time. It's go time now. 3 weeks, 4 weeks. That's all you got. Get ready, and it's going to be kickoff. All right. Georgia fan R.W. Tyndall. Now, I did make note of this a couple months ago when we talked about the channel and had a big channel-wide live stream to talk about the channel. This is a moniker right there, a nickname of sorts that I'm doing my best to shred. I want to get rid of that. Shred it, shed it, whatever you do with it, get rid of it. Don't want to be the hardest working man in college football. That's the last thing I want to be. Do not want to be that guy. No. Life is too short to be the hardest working guy. No. Best college football channel. The best college football channel. That's all we care about. Best college football channel. And then we do it the right way, of course. Hardest working man. No, don't want to hear that anymore. I appreciate the compliment if that's what it is. Thank you for that. But no, don't want any part of that. Okay. Roger Smith. Do we go undefeated? If not, who plays the spoiler? Who is we? Roger, who do you root for? Please identify your team. If your team is not in your avatar, such as like Tim here, USC. I know he's a USC fan and would never forget that, but I can't keep track of everybody. I was going to make a call out for Cheryl very soon. I was thinking I'm a bit concerned about Cheryl, but hopefully I don't have to be concerned anymore. So I was going to make a bit of a shout out to Cheryl, but I don't like to do those sorts of things and put people on the spot or shed a light on maybe somebody that doesn't want that out there. But we've missed Cheryl in recent weeks. Cheryl, it's been a while. I believe I haven't seen you. So good to see you in the chat. Hope all is well. Okay. I'm sorry, Roger. I should have known. The Ohio State University. Yeah, I've got predictions coming out before the season starts. Certainly, I will have predictions. Nick is looking for Sun Belt predictions this season. I usually don't predict the group of 5, but maybe just for you, Nick, we'll look into it. Okay. And about that link, let's get that thing there. We don't have too much time tonight. But we do have, yes, quarterback battles. Big Ten, Michigan. Nebraska, I don't consider. Iowa, I don't consider. Michigan in the Big Ten. Really nowhere else. Nowhere else of consequence. Northwestern to a certain extent. Michigan in the Big Ten. Big 12, quarterback battles. Texas. That's the one of consequence. Kenneth says Mark's predictions are spot on. Putting the pressure on me. I do not take the kind of time that I should for these predictions. I would like to take a lot more time. Oh my goodness, Charles Johnson. Charles, you know what? I used to do every Power 5 team. You guys think I work hard now. I used to work 50 hours plus at ESPN. And I would come on here and pump out just about as much content as we do now. But I used to do pretty much every Power 5 team. But nobody cares about most of them. Nobody here, I should say that. The Kansas State fans, they're just not here. The Stanford fans, they're just not here. So I'm not, unfortunately, I would actually love to do a preview. I've only done one preview I've only done one season preview. That was Clemson a couple weeks ago. I don't know how well that video is doing exactly, but it had to reach a certain mark for us to continue to do previews, unfortunately. I don't think we've hit that mark. I will double check, and if we have, then there will be another preview coming out. And we will get on that. So we've left the link in the chat. So anybody want to join the show, talk college football. Quarterback battles, Auburn, LSU. Check out our video last night. We did a live stream fall camp preview with Lon Phillip Sullivan, LSU Odyssey, and Carter, Power Hour LSU. And actually, Carter's going to have me on the radio at 9:30 in the morning on Friday. 9:30 in the morning. I will find out where that's going to be, but I'm going to be on some type of sports radio station somewhere at 9:30 a.m. on Friday. So I'm going to set the alarm for 9:20. All right, Exploring with Ben has left the link in the chat as well. Let's talk some college football, folks. Other intriguing quarterback battles. Where do we need to go? North Carolina. It's a pretty steady quarterback situation there in the ACC. Do ACC teams have the best quarterbacks? I believe so. I believe so, and I believe Falconer X would say, I not only know that the ACC has the best quarterbacks, but he would also say that Miami has the best quarterback, probably in college football, is what Falconer X would tell us. Also, we are looking to, thank you so much for that, Joey. Joey's on top of it all the time. Look at that. Audio podcasts, Apple, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, Spotify, Player FM, Google Play. And speaking of which, we are on the cusp. We are on the verge of announcing another endeavor here at the Voice of College Football. We're actually on the verge of announcing two. I almost forgot about one, and one is a rather large investment, but not quite ready to unveil those. I want to make sure that they're all ready to roll and going to be out there soon. So, two major initiatives here at the Voice of College Football. And before we bring Eric on, it slapped me right in the face this afternoon that, wow, you know what? The season's 3 to 4 weeks away. And if you were with us last season, you know that we had post-game shows for Ohio State, Michigan, Nebraska, Iowa, Florida State, Miami, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma, Texas. Who else? Texas A&M, Penn State, and maybe a few I'm missing. We are missing some post-game show hosts. We are not prepared for the season on many of the channels. So I am looking for post-game show hosts for, I won't even go through. Just assume that I need post-game show hosts pretty much for every channel that we have, excluding Iowa's set. But even the shows that we have one or two people lined up, we really need backups, and we need other people to join the conversation. So if you would like to join and you've got a particular team you would like to cover, I'm not going to go through the big explanation of what it entails, but just basically talking, taking calls, taking the chat room in after the games, post-game shows. Get in touch with me at MarkRogersTV at Gmail, MarkRogersTV at Gmail. Let me know. And if you know of somebody, so you got to be able to talk. That's one requirement. Got to be able to talk, at least as good as I do. Got to be able to talk. Got to be able to, of course, you got to know your team. Got to know the team. Got to know some college football. We've got high standards here. Got to know at least as much as I do. Come on. And then you just have to be reliable. That doesn't mean you can't miss a week or 2 weeks. You got family plans, whatever. That's not an issue. But you got to be reliable, got to show up, and you got to be able to talk college football, and you got to know your team. Those are the requirements. Tim can't see. We've had Tim on. There's a great example that we need much better talent quality than Tim. So you got to be able to. Yeah, he's shy, and there's a lot of issues there with Tim, but not with this guy. Not with Eric here. Eric,
how you doing, Mark?
Quack quack.
Quack quack.
Quack quack.
Can you hear me?
Got to say it like that. Okay. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I am doing just fine. What's going on today?
Not much. I've been on the mend. I've been at home for a while. I had a minor surgery recently, so I've just been hanging out, talking football. Yeah, I'm doing good though. Don't worry. I'll be here, and I am interested in the post game shows. That would be really fun.
Absolutely. I'm interested in having you. So you let me know what we will have a discussion later.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Quarterback battles. I would be absolutely shocked if Bo Nix didn't start for us. And I felt that way for a while. That was confirmed in the spring game on the field. But even now, Pac-12 Media Day has passed, and Oregon kind of did their own media day. I believe it was yesterday. And just the way they all spoke. I mean, Bo is the clear leader, and both of the quarterbacks behind him, Ty and Jay, just gushing about his leadership and how they looked up to him the most on the team. And I feel like that's just not code for, but it's indicative of the fact that he's got the job.
So Jay Butterfield, Ty Thompson. So Ty Thompson, this is going to be his second year, correct? Or is it 3?
This will be his second year.
2 for Ty Thompson, 2 for Jay Butterfield, correct?
Yes.
So these guys are willing to hang out, apparently, and maybe take it a third season before they say, hey, we got to go.
Yeah, and it was actually explicitly mentioned. I believe it's Bennett Williams, one of our safeties, when asked about the quarterback battle, he said, Ty could have very easily left when Bo transferred in and found a landing spot. I mean, he's a blue chip recruit, high 4-star, and he hasn't. And there's been a lot of talk about the number of reps he got last year, kind of with a negative connotation that, he only got to play this many reps, and he's looking forward to other players are looking forward to Ty getting more opportunities, which obviously a good thing for him and his development.
Absolutely. Well, I know that Bo Nix is one of a polarizing figure in college football because of his sporadic play and what was expected of him when he came out of high school. But so I don't know what that says about the other two. I think Bo Nix is a good player. I seem to like him better than most. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's a lead.
No, I think he catches a little bit more flack than he should. A little bit. And I mean, maybe that's just because his expectations were so very high coming out. And, he has had pretty extreme ups and downs. Yes, RW Tyndall, I totally agree. Like I was saying, Oregon Media Day, they had a slew of players come on, and especially on the defense, they were just also excited about how involved they all get to be, how with these simulated pressures they might be coming up and playing, and it's not just focused on Sewell and Flo as much, or at least they feel that way in this game, and that's important. And I think it's true if you look at the way Georgia or Dan Lanning ran Georgia's defense last year, or schemed. I mean, there are obviously other people involved in that, but yeah, I think a big upgrade on defense is going to be, I think I'm not worried about the defense at all. I'm less certain on Dillingham. I'm not totally convinced that he's the guy. But yeah, Leo, enough. Another guy I did want to talk about, speaking of quarterback battles, I don't know if it's much of a battle, but Cam Ward up at Washington State now, coming from Incarnate Ward. I just watched his highlights last night, and he looks incredible. And to add another wrinkle to it, his head coach from Incarnate Ward is coming to Wazoo as the OC.
Yep.
So he's already being listed as a potential top quarterback in the pack, which I guess isn't a super tough list to top. But I mean, you got Caleb, McKee from Stanford is expected to be good, but this Cam Ward kid is going to be fun to watch this year, I think.
The NFL loves Tanner McKee.
They love Stanford quarterbacks. What is it about Tanner McKee specifically?
Well, I love Stanford quarterbacks.
Yeah.
If you're looking historically, my goodness, for it not being a great football program, the quarterback position has been rather stellar. I don't know. I haven't seen enough of Tanner McKee. I can't even pretend that I saw Stanford football last year. My goodness. I rushed to the end of the Oregon game just to see them pull off an upset, just because I was like, oh, really? Is this happening? But other than that, my goodness, I don't remember seeing much of Tanner McKee last year. So I have to bow out on that one in terms of firsthand exposure experience with me.
Sure. Joey's funny here. He's saying that he's proud of you, Mark, for having a Mountain West fan on the show. So I am now a Mountain West fan.
I get Joey riled up once in a while when I correct him on West Virginia's would-be elite status in the 2000s. He doesn't like that. I said something earlier today he didn't like. I think it was a Dabo Sweeney. I think some folks in the chat corrected him in regards to what I had meant when he asked a question about Dabo Sweeney possibly getting fired this year.
That's not going to happen.
No.
Unless, I mean, it's something ridiculous off the field would have to happen.
Off the field.
The weird thing to me about this census realignment thing is that the Big 12 taking a posture as if they're not also the losers in this situation. That's been funny to me. And essentially they're in a very similar spot to the Pac-12 monetarily and otherwise. I mean, they might be slightly better off. That might be true, but I don't think they really have much more clout than we do at this point.
Well, here's the difference, Eric, is that if both leagues stood pat and had nobody come after them, didn't want any, none of the existing schools wanted to leave, then I would be right there with you. As they stand currently, I believe that the Big 12 is better, but I don't think it's substantially better.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I'm not going to get into that too much, but the problem is that the Pac-12 still has commodities that may leave.
Yes.
Whereas the Big 12, I just think that they've settled into this spot there. I don't see the SEC unless this expansion just goes crazy. Like I posted a video the other day about the SEC going to 24, and people seem to think that Oklahoma State would be a target. I don't really see that myself.
That's about the one though. So I mean, arguably, right now the Pac-12 might be better because we actually have candidates that are being discussed seriously.
Yeah, but I think the Big 12 is a better football conference.
Yeah,
I think I know that it's a better football conference.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
And
I mean, through the middle, they got a middle chunk of team. I mean, really, from the top to nearly the bottom, they have solid teams, right? With Oklahoma State being on top, if we're already excluding Texas and Oklahoma.
Kansas is awful, and Texas Tech is pretty bad. But really, and TCU may be headed there if they don't turn around. But the rest of the leagues, either good, they're just not great. They don't have any elite. We know what the story is there.
Okay. I wanted to ask you about one more thing that I heard. I believe it was Josh Pate who suggested this on one of his shows a couple weeks ago. So I'm sure a lot of us are familiar with this already. But he's basically saying that we might, like with the unlimited transfer thing coming to fruition, we might combat that by like signing players to contracts. Like, let's say it was $30,000 a year, but you signed and you had to stay at the school for at least 2 years. Is that at all feasible? I mean, that seems realistic and reasonable to me at this point, the way we're headed.
Okay. So while that doesn't seem like a big deal monetarily, and it's not, it doesn't seem like a big step, that is a major groundbreaking step. That makes them professionals. They are now professionals.
Mm-hmm. I mean, aren't they?
Well, are they? Well, their job, as it were, as football players, allows them to become celebrity to make all this money. But they're not able to do anything right now from a money-making standpoint that you and I can't do, or a 15-year-old on TikTok can't do. They just have a platform that has made them valuable. So they are working. So they're putting the work in. So in a sense, they are professionals, but not in the traditional sense that they're working for a company that's paying them, or they're working for an entity. They work, and their work makes them valuable. And then an outside commodity entity comes in and says, you're valuable, therefore we're going to advertise with you, basically make you a brand.
Sure. I mean, that's NIL, but basically sharing a smidgen of the profits that the university makes off of these kids in the form of basically a stipend.
See, this is what I think people just miss this totally. First of all, they got a college education. So this can't be discounted. I hate that this gets discounted by so many people. They have a college education. If somebody wants to pay my daughter's student loan debt right now, then they would understand what a college education is.
Can she play D1 football?
Pardon me?
Can she play D1 football?
She is a heck of a powder puff football player. She's phenomenal. D1. Oh, you threw that in. No, I don't want her getting hurt. So she could pull it off, no question. Yes.
Yeah.
No. So that's the first thing. The second thing, let's understand, in addition to the book learning, when we think scholarship, we think just education, okay, which is a very valuable thing. But beyond that,
it's socialization and all kinds of things.
Well, yeah, they have a platform, and they have a place to create contacts, business contacts, that even if they don't go to the NFL, which the great majority don't, they are set for life in regards to, if they have half a brain in their head, they are set in regards to creating business contacts that will benefit them for years to come. Number one. Number two, they also they get fed. They get fed better than both of us get fed. You know, they get world-class nutrition. They get world-class training. And I mean, in a sense, outside of football, nutrition. I'm talking about therapy. I'm talking about all those things. Room and board. That's worth a lot of money.
I think you can acknowledge the value of that and still say that to avoid these constant transfers, we need them on some kind of contract.
They're getting paid. They're getting paid now. If they want to risk the status that they will have as professionals, so that's not all just candy and nuts in Christmas time, that it's all just benefit to them. Do they want to get cut? You're going to get cut. You're a professional. Okay, you're done. Yeah. You missed 3 field goals last week. Boom. No scholarship, no nothing. See you. Bye. We got no use for you anymore. You're on the streets just like an NFL kicker.
So you dislike this?
Yeah, I dislike it.
Okay.
I'm not saying anytime something's presented to me like this that I have to know, I have to see it fully vetted out. I will not say I'm 100% dead set that there's no way it can work. I just don't want to cross the line of these guys being professionals.
Okay. Yeah, I mean we're toying with that line right now, and that's I was actually more interested in the prevention of the transfer treadmill
Sure.
by getting them to sign a contract, and the whatever 20K a year, 30K, whatever you put in there to make that contract enticing, I think would be all it would need to be.
Are we really going to have that many more transfers than we already do?
I don't know.
These guys are transferring anyway all the time. The one-time transfer rule isn't being upheld
Yeah,
anyway.
it hasn't been for a long time.
Yeah. So we this progressed in stages where we used to have a one-time transfer rule, and therefore you would only hear like a couple of seasons, and it would be the cornerback for Eastern Washington, and he'd have to sit out a year. And then suddenly they got to a place where just about all the what do you want to call them? Basically, they would have to fill out some kind of disclaimer that
they'd have to get
a waiver,
an exemption. Yeah,
a waiver, redemption. Yes, and those were rare, and then they became less rare, and then basically, if you just didn't like where you were, that was enough to fill out the waiver, and that got passed through. And so now we got the transfer portal humming constantly. But even if it becomes technically unlimited, the average college football team, I'm guessing, had 8 to 12 transfers this year.
In or out?
Total. So we're concerned in this conversation with any transfers in or out. We're looking at like just how many guys are moving from one team to another. So my guess is I'm going to go a little higher than that. Yeah, 12. I'm going to guess it at an average of about 12 per team. I just don't think it's going to go that much higher than that, because there's going to be a kind of a backlash of understanding that you just can't. Do guys really want to jump to a different campus every year?
I mean, you said yourself that it was very rare before, and now it's not. So I don't know if it's going to continue this way, or we're just going to say it's at this level right now, and hopefully it doesn't get much worse, or maybe we just accept it as like.
Well, here's the other component, talking about NIL. If most of those NIL collectives are attached to the school, meaning you gave money to Bo Nix, you personally, Eric, because you own ABC company and you're an Oregon fan and you want Bo Nix to play for Oregon. And as long as he plays for Oregon, your NIL sum of money is going to Bo Nix, and he tweets and does whatever he does on Instagram for you. But contract's up when he leaves.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know any. I guess this is another thing along with the realignment. There's so many unknowns that a lot of this is conjecture. I don't know what the verbiage is in these contracts at this point. If it's you must be at the university, you must be at this university, you must see the field. And it seems like these earlier deals didn't have any mention of any of that.
Well, yeah, if they didn't, then those people writing the checks weren't very smart.
Yeah, they're not very smart.
But then some of those companies, we understand, they don't care where these players, like if I'm Nike and I get attached to Arch Manning, I probably don't care where he plays. I'm Nike.
As long as he wears the brand.
Yes.
Yes.
But then most of them seem to be attached to a region, to an area, and therefore they want to support Oregon football, for example.
Sure. All right. Who wins the Apple Cup this year?
Where are they playing the game?
Where
did they play last year? I think they played at Seattle.
Yeah, I think it's going to be in Pullman this year.
I'm going with our guy Jake Dickard and Washington State.
Me too. I think I think DeBoer is going to do well at UW, but I think Wazoo has a little bit more momentum rolling into this season.
Where's our Wazoo helmet? It's pretty awesome that we've got more Pac-12 helmets, I think, than any other conference.
I think we have more Pac-12 people in the Discord than any other conference too, and that should be a sign for all of you in the chat to get in there and help us out. It's a lot of fun. And yeah, I'll end on that. You guys should really join the Discord, sign up for the Patreon, get the Discord link. It's getting better and better. We're going to do all kinds of cool stuff in there during the season. I mean, it's active now, and it's just getting started. So
you guys just keep me updated on what you're doing.
we're not sneaking around on you, Mark. We're not going to do anything. We're not undermining you.
You're not undermining me. I want to be able to promote it.
Thank you so much, Mark. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. And as Eric talked about, it's on the banner right there. Join Discord. Talk college football all the time. Sign up on Patreon, search Mark Rogers TV. There you go. We get you the link. You're on Discord. You're all set. There was something else. Let me catch up with these super chats before we get to DeAndre. Super chats. Falconer X, thank you so much for that. Transfer portal plus NIL is different. Transfer portal plus NIL is different. We'll leave that sit right there. Joey, we know you. We love you, Joey. You know that. So Joey hopefully understands my dry humor. Joey's phenomenal. If you guys only knew 2% of what Joey does for us here at the Voice of College Football. He just loves to support college football, especially his beloved Mountaineers. And so we love Joey, and Joey is doing everything to help myself and others succeed at this YouTube business. So we appreciate that. All right. We also have Falconer X here. I bought my life insurance from a former Miami player who played a few years in the NFL at Northwestern Mutual. Well, thanks for letting us know that, Falconer X. So Falconer X doing a veiled promotion for the former Miami player who now sells insurance at Northwestern Mutual. All right. Exploring with Ben, smash the like button. I thought we had another super chat in here. Yes, we do. And lo and behold, it is Falconer X. Rich Rod at WVU was and could have been fire. It was a great run for Rich Rod. When you talk to most college football fans today and you bring up Rich Rod, they look on him with a little disdain, or that he was a joke, because that Michigan experience overshadows it for a lot of college football people. But think back to West Virginia football. Rich Rod took over a really good program, so he didn't raise it from the ashes. Took over a really strong all-time program, but then he just ramped it up. And of course, they were the dominant team in the Big East for a few years, and certainly the team in the Big East that was able to elevate against top-level competition outside the conference. All right, let's get to DeAndre. Clemson fan DeAndre, appreciate you being here, man.
What's up, Mark? How you doing today?
I'm doing well. What's going on with you?
Well, you bring up Rich Rod. You know, he was with Tommy Bowden when Tommy Bowden came to Clemson. I wonder if he would have stayed, how much different Clemson football would have looked in the early 2000s. Because we all know the coordinators are pretty much the ones that put the game plan together. And Rich Rod gets a lot of credit for the spread offense, the power run type spread that you saw at West Virginia and Tulane. So I wonder how different it would have been if he would have stayed there at Clemson. Cause I did a lot of problems with Clemson early before Dabo took over was offense, and I can't remember who the offensive coordinators were, but I think that's what killed Tommy Bowden at the end of the day, which Rich Rod leaving because he was at Tulane with Bowden. Just something because you brought up his name. It was just something that ran through my mind. Now I heard the South Carolina contributor. I was just joking with him. I heard he said that he thinks that South Carolina can beat Clemson. And I'm not saying they can't. I don't know what happened with Spencer Rattler at Oklahoma, but I will ask this. I think this is Spencer Rattler's, third year?
Yes.
Okay. Let's say Spencer Rattler has a very good year this year. And, South Carolina might be 5-6, 6-6. And you say, you know what? I had a good enough year that I'm being projected to be a number one pick again in the NFL draft. I'm out of here. So if Clemson is like even 10-1 when they get to the South Carolina game, more than likely that quarterback, who's everybody thinking that South Carolina's going to have a good year, is going to be gone. He's going to say, hey, I'm going to sit out. While playing, I ain't playing for nothing. We see it all the time. So why would he play in that last two games if you ain't playing?
We see it all the time. When do we see it? What quarterback that was going to be a high pick in the NFL draft or any selection in the NFL draft sat out the last regular season game?
No, I can't think of nobody out of my head, but
I can't.
We see that out of
so we don't see it out of
people. Yeah, we see that out of positions, though. Like, I'm not going to play the rest of the year.
We do?
I mean, yeah.
Who do we see this out?
Did Christian McCaffrey did it?
Christian McCaffrey.
Then Fournette do it?
They didn't play the bowl game.
Yeah, I thought they didn't. I think they played any of them.
Well, we can look into that.
Last.
But
Okay.
I don't remember Christian McCaffrey and Leonard Fournette sitting out before the bowl game.
Okay, you might be right. I'm just saying, it seems like that's the way it's going. I might have got it confused, but hey, I mean, would you play? What would be the purpose of you playing outside of to compete? I mean, you already look good enough to be a first round pick. But I was just something that I was thinking about what he said. I don't know I don't know South Carolina roster that good outside of the quarterback transferred from Oklahoma, Rattler. So I don't know how good South Carolina's going to be this year or not. But I think South Carolina program should be way better than what it is, though. I mean, to be honest with you, I know everybody said, well, they play in the SEC. Well, what happened all those years they didn't play in the SEC? They wasn't very good then either. I mean, I just think they should have a better program.
The South Carolina football program is one of the great disappointments in all of college football. South Carolina might be the most underachieving program in college football because every other program that I can think of in college football history that's been bad, like Wake Forest, I throw that out there. Obviously, Wake Forest is really good right now and has been for the past 4 or 5 years, but historically, Wake Forest is awful. Oregon State is horrible. There are significant reasons why, especially Oregon State playing up in the middle of nowhere is horrible. But South Carolina, I don't have an answer for that.
But you want to know something, Mark? You said that Oregon State plays in the middle of nowhere, and I know you follow college football, basketball back in the day. But think about some of the basketball products they put out, and I think they're pretty good in girls basketball and baseball too. Baseball and girls basketball. So I don't know. I mean, I know they had a run with Dennis Erickson, and back in the 90s they had Chad Ochocinco and what's my boy name? But I get what you're saying. The quarterback was pretty good too, but you just got to recruit differently out there. A lot of it is what's called.
Well, when I say in the middle of nowhere, I mean from a recruiting standpoint. They're in the middle of nowhere.
Right. Yeah, they probably get a lot of Northern California. That brings me to my next question for you. Mario Cristobal. I have nothing against Miami. I know I pick a lot of fun at them. But everybody seems like Mario Cristobal is just going to be a game changer. Now, I know as far as recruiting, he does a very good job. But I think you just talked about Stanford a few minutes ago, and like you saw the end of the Oregon game. Didn't they lose to Stanford? I know they lost to Stanford. That's not the question. But they lost to Stanford, and then they lost to Utah twice. Now,
Yeah.
both of these teams are very not as talented, and they built a certain way. Did they lose to Oregon State also, or Oregon State lost to them this year? It
No,
seemed like that game was
they beat Oregon State.
okay. They beat Oregon State.
Yeah.
So my question is, how good of a coach is Mario Cristobal? We know he's a great recruiter, but you pretty much got beat by Utah twice in a blowout situation, and then you got beat by Stanford, who was what 3-10 this year, 3-9 last year.
Yeah, they were awful.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, you got up for Oregon, Ohio State, but that's still. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny when I say this towards Miami fans, but he really doesn't have a great track record of winning the big games or having his teams always motivated to win games.
I will agree with the back part of that. That they lose some games and don't show up for some games. Those 2 Utah games. So when you look at rematches in college football among teams that are comparable, and usually they are if they rematch, because that means they both made the postseason or a championship game, you almost never see what we saw last year, where Utah beat them into submission, and then they played them a few weeks later and beat them into submission again. And so basically, this is telling us that you did not adjust and come up with a better game plan, number one. Number two, you weren't able to motivate that team. They got embarrassed on national TV. And then you're playing in the conference championship game and you weren't able to motivate them again.
Right. So that's why I say, Miami fans, don't get me wrong, I think they got 2 good offensive linemen. They always have talent, but I mean, I don't think that they got a good quarterback. But I just don't know about Mario Cristobal as a coach. Now, I'm saying he's a bad coach.
He's not an elite coach. He may turn out to be one, but nobody can say that Mario Cristobal is an elite coach. He's a good coach.
Now, I think I got cut off when I asked you about this last week because my phone ran hot.
Okay. I thought maybe I cut you off.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Okay. Yeah. Michigan. I was looking at their schedule, and I think I brought this up to you before. Did we talk about this already?
I don't believe so.
I was telling you that I think Michigan, up to the Ohio State game, could be undefeated. I mean, their non-conference schedule was awful. I think they played Colorado State, Hawaii, a few other games, and then I think they get a bye before Penn State. So are you with me on that? That there's a strong possibility that they might be undefeated going into the Ohio State game? I know they lost to Michigan State pretty bad last year, but I know Michigan State came from behind.
No. They had a 2-score lead on Michigan State. That went down to the wire.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, I know they came back and won. I thought it was bigger than a 2-score lead. But anyway, they lost to Michigan State, and they shouldn't have lost to them with that defense. And I know that guy ran hog wild on them. But I just was looking at their schedule. Are you with me with that? With Michigan might be undefeated going into the season? Going into the Ohio State game?
I'll give them a less than 50% chance, but it's a strong possibility.
Because don't get me wrong, Ohio State is the most, at least on offense, I think the most talented offensive team in college football year. But their schedule is a murder. I mean, you can start off with Notre Dame, then you got Wisconsin, then you got Michigan. I think I saw a game with Iowa somewhere in there, and then Michigan State. I don't know who said. I think this is what I think we got cut off at. I was saying that I don't know what the guy was talking about, and I said Ohio State had a weak schedule this year. Man, I think that schedule is pretty tough.
I brought that up because that was during SEC Media Days week, and I got a bit fired up because I heard a lot of idiotic comments made, and that was one of them, that Ohio State's schedule was a joke. So that came out of somebody on the SEC network that didn't know what they were talking about.
Only way I can see is a joke if you say the offenses are not as good as their defense is like Wisconsin, Iowa, and Michigan defense. We all know their three defenses are going to be good, but their offenses are going to be kind of weak. I mean, they're going to do what they do. I know Wisconsin had a 5-star quarterback they started last year, and they had a transfer from Clemson at running back who led the team in rushing until he broke his leg.
Yes.
And I'm gonna talk about Clemson for a few minutes. And I'm gonna let you go. So I hear a lot of people say, we talk about Clemson have a down year. Do you realize that? I know you realize this. Do people realize that Clemson lost 2 of their top running backs to the transfer portal? Miller
Case and who was the other one? Lynn J. Dixon.
Yeah. You said Page, right?
Yes.
No, it wasn't Page. It was Miller's. Mulsi. He started at Wisconsin. He had 1,000 yards rushing this year.
Chad Malusi.
Chad Malusi. So they lost Chad Malusi.
I thought you were talking about this coming season. Okay.
No, I'm talking about last year. And that's just amazing that, you were able to go 10-3 with all those injuries to, Frank Langston, Nagaya, who else was there? Ross wasn't right the whole year. E.J. Williams. People that say that Clemson was down last year, they're right. But 10-3, you had all of that happen last year with a quarterback who didn't play very well. And I love Jason. I talked to him. He took my words that I said a long time ago. Clemson, when they got physically whooped by Georgia, which I thought it was a mistake to play that game, but Clemson has never had a very good offensive line. I know far as fans of football, you want them to play, but as somebody that want to see them go undefeated, Clemson just was not right. And I pointed out to you, Clemson was getting beat by 3-man fronts for the NC State game, Georgia Tech game, and the Georgia game. And I was like, Dad, these guys just melted under pressure. And I just don't know why Clemson will not play Travis Lay. I mean, we're going into a new season. And I know Jordan McFadden is big time, but at the next level, he's going to play on the inside. I just don't know why they won't kick him on to the inside and let Lay play on the outside. I mean, it doesn't. And I'm not at practice. I'm not a coach, and I don't get paid the money that they get paid. But it just makes more sense to me. And I know there was really, and that's another person you got to look at, Kobe Pace. Kobe Pace was a freshman coming into that game against Georgia, and they are very high on him when he came in. And think about Taco out of Kentucky, and there was a kid out of Raleigh. They didn't even put them in the game over Pace. So if Pace develops under this new offensive line coach, their offensive line on the left side should be a lot better. I don't know what Will Putnam's going to do at center. I really don't like that. I'd rather for them to start Ryan. I can't pronounce Ryan's last name, but he was the number 1 center coming out of high school, and he redshirted. And put Putnam back at the right guard spot. But that right tackle be getting us killed too, because he be giving us lots of sacks, especially your state. He just let people run right past him. But Mark, I'm gonna let you go, man. I was just trying to talk about that a little bit, and like I said, my phone gets hot when I hold it in my hand. I take an hour away. It takes an hour for me to get home from work. So man, I appreciate the time.
Talking about Ryan Linthicum, right?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, DeAndre, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. I hope you were able to catch the earlier Clemson live show, right?
No, I didn't see who was up there.
Jason and Brian Knight.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll probably go back and watch it.
It was
I didn't get a chance out there at work. All right. Take care, Mark.
Thanks, DeAndre. Have a good one. Next up here, the voice of college football, we got Hunter on the line from Alabama. And before we let Hunter go, I want to acknowledge these 2 super chats coming in from Shoelace Sooner. Shoelace Sooner offering us, let's see, looking to build a prediction. I believe that's what that's supposed to be. Prediction app for your show. Well, that would be phenomenal, Shoelace. For free and fun, interested. Okay, well, we've got a lot to decide there, a lot to talk over. So hit me up, Shoelace, MarkRogersTV at Gmail. So hopefully you're still on the line. MarkRogersTV at Gmail. We'll talk about it. Hunter, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, Mark. How are you?
I am doing just fine. What's up?
So we'll talk about Florida State for a little bit. I haven't been able to get on there during the FSU lives that you have, but I did want to ask you, or from your sources from the Florida State side, who do they think is going to be the starting quarterback?
Oh, the starting quarterback's Jordan Travis.
Jordan Travis. I'd heard some ramblings earlier in the year about maybe Roadmaker might be making a push.
No. I would be pretty surprised.
Do you think that he is a viable backup option?
He's only played, he started a game against a UMass or a Jacksonville State or somebody like that. Not Jacksonville State. They lost that game last season. It was the year before. Anyway, he started a game against somebody like UMass, and so I haven't seen him play. I from everything I hear, he's not a viable backup. They don't have a viable backup. Their third stringer is A.J. Duffy, who's very talented young player, but this is his first year. And it's pretty obvious at this point from everything I hear from my FSU guys that he has little grasp on the offense and he's not physically mature enough to be a starting quarterback of the ACC. So they have an issue with Jordan Travis. Number one, he's I don't want to call him injury prone, but he got hurt last year a number of times. Not seriously. He kept bouncing back, but he missed halves of games, 3/4 of games, missed a full game a couple times. Plus, most of his game is running the ball. He's not a thrower. He's a better thrower, much improved over the previous season, but he's not going to make you forget Peyton Manning. He's not a thrower. So that's his game. So that's our problem. So they put 15 pounds on him to try and make him more durable this year, but their quarterback situation is pretty thin.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just hadn't really paid much attention to all that. I'm kind of frustrated with Florida State right now. I know that I do think that now I'm blanking on his name. Hey, Coach Norvell. I do think, I think he's going to do good for them. I really do. I'm more frustrated with the administration of Florida State. They have let what has happened to the program happen. I mean, I think I've told you before. I think hiring Willie Taggart was a disastrous hire, and it just imploded within itself. Even though they were able to semi-recruit, decently, even under Taggart. And I think Taggart had the same problem that Manny Diaz had at Miami. They were too worried. They were too worried about putting on a show than actually winning football games. Now that's my personal opinion, but I think that the evidence for that is pretty glaring.
Well, the first thing I'll say about your first comment about Mike Norvell, and you think he'll eventually do a good job there. If he doesn't do a good job this year, he may not get a chance to do a good job.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that he's got the pieces. Now he's just got to put it together.
I don't think he's got the pieces.
Well,
I don't think Florida State has the pieces to do what? To go 6-6? Yeah. To compete in that conference? I think they need playmaker. This is what they have. They have a few really good running backs, They potentially have a few good wide receivers, but not game-changing kind of wide receivers. They've got an improved offensive line. They've got a defensive front that's serious. That's what they've got.
I mean, I can see it. It's not likely, but I can see a scenario where they win 7-8 games.
Oh, sure, they could go 7-5 or 8-4. Sure, and he should probably keep his job.
If he goes to 7-5 or 8-4, I think he keeps his job, and that, you know, now the next year the pressure is really on, because now you've gotten more of your own recruits in to do what you kind of want to do. Then I think the pressure will be even more on the next season as that goes on. I want to pivot here for a second. Who do you think is a up and coming coach who you think could possibly be a good head coach one day?
I should probably keep a couple lists in front of me, and that should be one of them. I get asked this question probably once a month, that somebody wants to know who's an up-and-comer, and I need to give this some thought and then make a list. Let me think. So you're talking about a guy that's never been a head coach before?
He might have been a head coach, but not that can be a good head coach at a bigger school, at a historically better program.
Yeah. So
I can give you one off the top. Can I just give you mine? And now he's at a historically good program right now. Well, somewhat, but I think if he could potentially get a bigger job one day and do really well, and that is Brown at West Virginia.
Oh, okay. Neil Brown. I was starting on the West Coast, and I got two for you. Neil Brown, West Virginia. Hey, our West Virginia folks here at the Voice of College Football, they love Neil Brown. Now, what's he done there? Nothing. 3 years, they've been pretty, I don't want to say lousy, marginal. He's a game under 500 in 3 years at West Virginia in a decent conference. I want to see him develop the offense. So if he's got to recruit quarterbacks. So they've got a couple quarterbacks right now on the roster. I'm not talking about JT Daniels because he might be gone after a year, maybe. But they've got a couple guys behind him that have some potential. Nico Marchiol comes to mind. I can't think of the other guy, Garrett Green, that come to mind as guys that have potential to be good Big 12 quarterbacks. But their offense was awful last year. So we'll see if he can develop an offense. Their offense hasn't been good since he's been there.
Well, I can just tell you that I watched him at Troy, and
sure.
What he did at Troy was really good. I think he's just got to have the coaching staff to do it with, and the players to do it with.
Well, think about those kind of situations. We've got Eli Drinkwitz, who was tremendous at App State. Boom, he's at Missouri now. The jury's still out. Can he win there? He just brought in a really good recruiting class. They were 6-7 last year. They were 5-5 the year before. Who else comes to mind? Scott Satterfield, another App State guy. Tremendous there. Won all over the place. Louisville, it's a bit shaky. It's okay. They're all right, but he hasn't proven himself there. So here's another one with Neil Brown at Troy. Beat LSU. Tremendous record at Troy. They weren't that very good when he took them over, and he was going 11-2, 10-3. Really good seasons at Troy. Well, we'll see. Billy Napier, Louisiana. Now he gets his big job at Florida. Let's see what he can do. We'll have to have that discussion in about 3 years to see, okay, did Billy Napier come through? Other guys haven't. Chad Morris, tremendous offensive coordinator at Clemson, went to SMU, tore it up, had a really good run at SMU. Then he goes to Arkansas, falls flat. Kalen DeBoer comes to mind. Kalen DeBoer and Jonathan Smith, when you're talking about guys that are young head coaches that could break out. And my mind just took me to the West Coast, and I haven't even swept the nation, but I got Kalen DeBoer at Washington, and I got Jonathan Smith at Oregon State as really good young coaches.
What about Jeff Levy?
Oh, well, there you're talking about a guy that, from a head coaching standpoint, has not had the opportunity to show us. You're just talking about an offensive mind. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's just interesting how all this goes. I was very disappointed in Muschamp at South Carolina. I thought when they hired him, I thought he did a decent job there, and he just could not get it together. And so he's a really good coordinator, though. I mean, I think I think some guys are they're just better at being coordinators, and that's their lane, I guess.
Yeah, Muschamp, it looked like he did have it on the upsurge. He went from 3-9 to 6-7 to 9-4. They were 9-4 in 2017.
Why do you think they fired him?
Pardon me?
Why do you think they let him go?
Well, I'm talking about that was the ascent. That was they fired him because then it came back down the other way. He was 2-8 the year before they fired him. They fired him because it wasn't winning.
Is Beamer a good? Do you think Beamer will do good there?
I believe so. I like Shane Beamer. I think he's showing us all the characteristics of a top-level head coach. Man, he patchworked a team that had a quarterback situation that was abysmal. You wouldn't want that quarterback situation in the MAC, let alone the SEC. And he had a graduate assistant start 3 games.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, one more thing before I get out of here. Ty Lockwood that flipped from Ohio State to Alabama. What did you think about that when it happened? Coming from an Ohio State guy.
What did I think of it?
Yeah, I mean, did it surprise you, or just? I
really don't know what the circumstances were surrounding it. So,
well, he was very, from all accounts, was very locked into Florida State. I mean, to Ohio State during he was almost committed to them for a whole year. And then he finally took a visit to Alabama, and Alabama kind of rolled out the red carpet for him and started talking to some of the players and some of the guys that are committed to Alabama right now. And they kind of just, I think he felt like Alabama was a better fit for him. And I can see him better in Alabama's offense than I can in Ohio State's offense. Seeing what Alabama's done the last few years, at that position and the way they like to utilize.
Well, that might be it right there. Shoot, you get on the Alabama campus and Nick Saban starts to roll out Nick Saban cuts it straight. I think we all saw a recruiting discussion that got out there that wasn't supposed to a few years ago with Nick Saban, and he basically rolls out national championships and SEC titles and first-round NFL draft selections. Now, Ohio State can do some of that as well, but the thing that you just brought up is utilization of the tight end in the offense. Ohio State doesn't throw to the tight end. All their tight ends go to the NFL and play and are pretty high draft picks, all of them over the last 10 years. But at Ohio State, they catch like 12 passes a year. And that's all Nick Saban probably had to do is say, you see these Ohio State tight ends, they're catching 12 and 14 passes a season. Is that what you want to do?
Mark, my favorite tight end that Alabama's had in the last few years, a lot of people like O.J. Howard, but I really, really like Irv Smith. Irv Smith was a phenomenal player, and he got hurt in the NFL, but he was doing pretty good in the NFL for the Minnesota before he got hurt. So I think that's it. I think that's what happened, and I watched this film. I wasn't very aware of him until a few days ago, and after watching this film, I really liked the kid. So I think he has the potential to do really good at Alabama.
All right, Hunter. Thanks for the call.
All right, roll tide.
All right, let's keep it rolling here with our guy Joey Foster. Look at this.
Hey.
Joey tonight.
What's going on?
Not too
And
much.
I
How
wanted
are
to come
you?
on and tell it. Good. I wanted to come on and tell everybody. Well, I'm going to tell you two things. First off, it's 28 days, 0 hours, 15 minutes, and 38 seconds to the kickoff of the Backyard Brawl. And about 3 hours after that, we'll be queuing country roads because we'll done annihilated Pitt. And I won't say what we normally say, but Pitt knows that I'm sending my regards to them right now. So, but
You're
also
open
I
to
want
say
to
it,
come on.
Joey. Go right ahead.
Well, no, I won't. So, but I also wanted to come on here and say, listen, everyone needs to join us over on Discord. Join the Patreon page for Mark Rogers and come into Discord at night with us. I mean, we have a good time in there. We really do. We have a lot of fun. Um, Everybody's seen how Eric and I were picking when he was on the show and I was typing in the chat. I mean, that's how we do over there. We have a good time. So anybody, I've got some West Virginia hats. They're not Western University hats. They're not Mountaineer hats. They're brand new. If you can see them, it's going to show up on my green screen. But I've got some just regular West Virginia hats. Um, got some camouflage ones.
Those are cool.
And then I've got one that's a West Virginia hat. Anybody that will join Discord and hit me up or join the Mark Rogers Patreon and hit me up, let me know that you just joined Patreon. I'll get with Mark and confirm it, and we'll send you a hat. It's not a problem at all. If we have more than 4 join, don't worry about it. I get some more hats, so we'll send you a hat. So be sure and join over there, and come on with us at night. You'll have a good time. We really do have a good time.
And since I got you
Now,
in front of me, Joey, and we're talking, you know what just went through my mind? And as soon as I get done packing here, you know what I'm going to find? I actually did come across it. I just didn't. Joey did a sketch of myself, Voice of College Football, you know, the pose there, and put together a sketch that when I opened that up, I was just blown away at the craftsmanship and the detail. That's phenomenal. So we're going to get that back up here in a second.
I'm glad you like it. I actually shut that business down, but I still do it for friends and everyone in these communities. I consider friends. So if anybody wants one done, you know, they can hit me up, and I think everybody knows where to find me. But be sure and just come over to the Patreon and join it, because there's another thing too that Mark and I are working on. Actually, there's 2 things that Mark and I are working on that are going to be for Patrons only, and so I think you'll enjoy the perks that are coming your way. I believe, don't you, Mark?
Absolutely, Joey. And again, I just cannot get over how much Joey does for me. And again, Golden Blue Dude and others here on YouTube supporting college football channels like this. It's just phenomenal. And Joey, you come up with some great ideas, and just the support's phenomenal. So yeah, we need to get together and nail some of these things down for sure.
Yeah. So anyway, I won't keep you no more. I know a lot of people want to come on here and talk some college football. That's what I enjoy, is listening to it. So we'll just say that you know, like I said, the Backyard Brawl this year is going to be the kind of the battle of former USC quarterbacks. Keaton Slobus at Pitt, JT Daniels at West Virginia, and that's going to be exciting. 2 former 5-star quarterbacks going at each other, and the difference is going to be that West Virginia's just better. I mean, I think Pitt's lost too much talent. They're good still, but I think before they lost Jordan Addison, I think that Pitt probably would have taken us by 3 or 4 points. I think since they lost him, they lost some points. They lost probably 10 points in that game.
Sure.
So West Virginia,
he scored like 18 touchdowns last year. Sure.
Yeah.
So Joey, am I going to lose your support? I don't want to face you and Chris and Coos and Travis and you guys. If I pick Pitt to win this game, boy, that's going to be rough.
Man, that, you know, it won't hurt. It won't hurt my feelings, but you know,
I'll just
it'll
be wrong.
okay, because you'll just be wrong, you know, and we can bet $1 on it. And I like what Traveling Pools does. So like Traveling Pools, if somebody bets him something, he bets them $1. And if they lose, they have to sign that dollar bill and mail it to him. So we'll bet $1. And if Pitt loses, you can mail me $1 with your signature on it.
If I pick Pitt to win, I haven't guaranteed that. I'm just saying, I was just kind of measuring that up, that if I do, boy, they're not going to like me on the West Virginia channel.
No, we love you, Mark. We love you. You know your stuff, man. So,
thank you, Joe. I appreciate
Mark,
that. And one of these times we'll bring you on here, and I'm going to let you take the floor on this. West Virginia was elite in the 2000s. I want to give you fair time because,
well, you know, I say that stuff in jest and just playing around. I mean, we had our year of eliteness in 2007, 2005, 6, and 7. We were close to being elite. You know, I think 2007 was the best year, and that reminds me, we did a in the Patreon page, ran to score the other night. We found a program. Eric found it to where we could match teams up, and we took all the last 18 national champions. But in 2007, we replaced West Virginia. So West Virginia went up against the 2018 Clemson for the national championship. West Virginia beat everybody. Clemson beat everybody. And it came down to between West Virginia and Clemson. Clemson won the game. But so that was a pretty interesting little thing.
Very cool. I'll have to see that
so
link.
2019 LSU was overrated because Clemson, 2018 Clemson and 2007 West Virginia were better.
2007 West Virginia was better than 2019 LSU.
According to that, yes. I don't think the game was even close.
All right. I had stated, erase what I said like 3 seconds ago when I said I'd like to see this site and like to see.
No, actually, West Virginia didn't play LSU. Clemson had to play them. They were over in their bracket. So, but Clemson took care of them. 2018 Clemson beat them, and then 2018 Clemson beat West Virginia. So,
okay.
But it's a fun little app. We had a good time with it. So. All right. I'm not much for just sitting here talking. You know that. Love you guys. See you later.
Thanks, Joey. Appreciate it. So I'm trying to envision the 2018 Clemson team takes on the 2019 LSU team, and the score was 20-18. Really? 20-18? That's what they gave us with those two offenses on the field? Maybe? Really? 20-18. All right, we got 58 dubs coming up here on the Voice of College Football. How you doing tonight?
Hey, what's up, Mark? How you doing?
I'm good.
Good, man. I'm just excited that college football is right around the corner because I'm probably going to take this in a different direction than most people, but I'm always looking at it to gamble on. So, you know, you still doing the Patreon with your picks when
Absolutely,
that comes around?
We are.
Yeah. Yes. Looking forward to it. But I was looking at a couple of things. You know, Alabama opening day has been good. Historically, it's been good. They're playing Utah State, which is supposed to be a good team. I don't know too much about them, but there's high hopes for them this year. What do you think about the line? I mean, I think it's at like 38.5, which is a lot, but I'm waiting for the first half lines to come out because that might be a better angle.
Well, this is what I say all the time. This is one of my pat lines right here. I've used this about 847 times. And I've tested my results, my prediction results against this comment. And actually, it has moved me to think if I really wanted to impress people with my prediction record, I would stop predicting any games with a 3-touchdown spread or greater because my prediction record goes down. And I got a few different philosophies for this. One, when you get a 3-touchdown game, obviously there's not much meaningful action in the fourth quarter. So you got fourth quarter with no action that's meaningful. So we don't know who's going to be on the field at that point. We could have backups. We could have third stringers. We don't know. Or they could leave the starters in. Either team. I'm not just talking about the team that's winning, the team that's losing. If you're losing 50-3, even that team's throwing in backups at that point. So we don't know who's going to be on the field in the second half, fourth quarter. We also don't know how the game's going to be called. We don't know what the coaches are going to call, if they're going to keep the gas down to the floor or what they're going to do. And number three, we don't know how hard these players are going to be playing in that type of game. So I have put those three factors together and put that against my record. And again, if you look through my prediction record and then take out those games at 3+ touchdowns, my prediction record goes in meaningful games against competitive teams. My prediction record skyrockets.
Wow. Yeah. No, that's good to them.
Because we both know that a touchdown in a 38-point game doesn't matter, but a touchdown in a 3-point game, these guys are busting their tails and doing everything they can to win this game. But in a 38-point spread, and Alabama's winning by 41 in the fourth quarter with, a minute 30 left, and Utah State's throwing the ball over the field, and Alabama's just like, okay, give them a touchdown, big deal. I know that they're not trying to do that, but if they score, it's okay. It went from 41, whatever I just said, 51-10 to 51-17. Okay, big deal, but it is a big deal when it comes to the point spread.
Okay. Got it. So are you going to avoid trying to bet on the ones that are 3 touchdowns?
No, I'm stupid enough to say I continue to predict every college football game in the top 25. And plus, so basically, this is what I've done forever. I pick all the top 25 games. And then if there are other games outside the top 25 that I think are interesting, intriguing, meaningful, popular games, then I pick those too.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at the first quarter, even first half. I know it's tough because it's the opening game, but I think Bama could still do it. But those lines haven't even came out yet, and I would imagine that even the first half is probably 21+ if the spread is 38.5.
And why are you locked on this game?
Just historically, Bama opening day has covered quite a bit, especially the past couple of years with their more high-powered offense.
Okay, but I would caution you on that Bama has traditionally played under Nick Saban the kind of games that I'm talking about. They have scheduled Michigan, Florida State, Wisconsin, West Virginia, Clemson, Virginia Tech, those kind of games on opening night. So they're playing an opponent they're taking seriously, and they're only maybe a 12 or 14-point favorite.
Right. No, that makes sense because there could be that look ahead angle because they're playing Texas the next week. So they could be waiting for that game to show everything they got. But yeah, that's why I'm talking to you, man. My other question is, what do you know? Do you know about the Baylor quarterback transfer that's going to South Florida, Jerry Bohannon?
Yeah. Jerry Bohannon. Yep.
Jerry. Oh, okay. I'm coming at it from gambling again, and South Florida has been a horrible program the past couple of years. So I want some good money on them. But I'm thinking this year with a decent quarterback, I don't know how good he is necessarily, but they've always had good skill position athletes and speed and athleticism. But they've always been missing a good quarterback at the head of the offense. So, and Jeff Scott he hasn't proven much, but he was good as a coordinator in Clemson. So, and a young coach like you guys were talking about earlier. What do you think? How do you think there's going to be any improvement from them this year?
Oh, well, he's a significant improvement. So Bohannon is the best quarterback at USF since Quentin Flowers for sure. So that takes us back about 5 or 6 years. But he's a better thrower than maybe anybody in the history of the program. I'm trying to think of anybody that was a better throwing quarterback than him. And that doesn't mean that he's Bryce Young. That just means that USF quarterbacks. I'm trying to think of the quarterback they had around
Well,
07 when they were really good. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but yeah, what'd they go last year? They went, what were they, 3-9? USF?
Something like that. Yeah, just horrible the past couple years. They had McLean who can't throw for anything, and then that one transfer, I can't remember his name, from North Carolina, I think, and
Thank you, Andrew. Matt Grove.
He didn't do well at all.
That's who I was thinking of.
Okay. So you see an improvement in their offense this year, at least with
just because of him.
Yeah.
Now, I have to admit, do I do 15 seconds of any kind of reading or research on South Florida football all off season? No, I do not. I know nothing about what's going on in South Florida right now, besides who is the head coach and who is the quarterback.
Got it. Yeah, and I've only followed them a lot because I think there's money to be made. So anyway, that's all I really had. But go ahead.
I'll give you one tip here, and this goes from week to week, and that's that this was like clockwork, and I've tracked this now for about 4 seasons, that in looking at all the top 25 games, which we're typically looking at about anywhere from 19 to 22, 23 games, because there's buys, and then obviously some teams play each other within the top 25. There are going to be 4 or 5 upsets every week.
Yeah, I remember you tracking that, and that's always, I always keep that in mind every weekend, because there's good plus money odds on the money line.
And I say that because I think most people tend to be conservative, and I'll put myself in that category, and I'll look at the top 25 games, and I'll naturally almost pick all favorites. Yeah. And I might pick one underdog that's like a 4-point underdog, or maybe somebody else out there. But then I'll be like, Mark, you got to look for some more upsets here. And then I even kind of listed off everything over double digits. And it would surprise some people how many double digit upsets there are in college football every year.
Yeah. And has that been more recently, like the past 10 to 15 years, or even going back?
Yeah, I don't know that.
Not sure. Okay. Yeah, well, thanks for talking with me. I don't really got, there's other people waiting, so I'll let them go. But I'll be checking out for the Patreon predictions and the shows. So thanks.
Well, I appreciate you jumping on. Call back anytime.
All right.
So I really can't think of too many things in life that make me nervous, but I get just a little bit nervous when I hear people are taking my predictions and trying to make money off them. I feel a little sense of responsibility, and I think, okay, I've explained this many times. My record is my record, whether you think it's good, lousy, whatever you think it is what it is. It's out there. If you go on Patreon, it's right there. Before the last 2 seasons for sure are on Patreon, and then maybe 3. I think it's only 2, and then everything else is actually on this YouTube channel. You can look up all my predictions. They're all out there. They're all time stamped. So my record is verified and documented. Can't get away from it. So I can't make up a record. Say, oh, I'm 63% against the spread. No, it's all verified by video or time stamped on Patreon the last 2 seasons. But I don't put a lot of time or thought into these predictions. I sit there, and sometimes I get so bad just doing all this and everything that we've got involved here is that it'll be like 11:20 in the morning on Saturday, and I'll be like, oh, shoot, I didn't get my predictions out. I got to do these predictions. Okay, let's see. Michigan State at Northwestern, they're 14-point. Okay, boom. I knock these out in about 45 seconds. So do not think that I've got some great system, number one, nor number two, that I'm just just slaving over these predictions to get them right. I would like to take that kind of time. I would like to really crunch numbers, because I know that I find enough trends that if I took the time, I could increase my winning percentage. I know that, because I've done it in the past to a certain extent. All right, the real MVP's here to talk some college football. How's it going tonight?
It's going. How about you, Mark?
I'm good.
Well, I'm not sure if you saw, but Nick Saban said last year was a rebuilding year.
Yes.
Part of me thinks that's crazy, but part of me also knows it's Nick Saban and it's probably true. What are your thoughts?
Well, the results are not of course, even for Alabama, they're not rebuild results. They had a lead in the national championship game with 5 minutes left in the game. So I think from that standpoint, it's not correct, but I don't think that that's what he processes. I think what he processes is the process. He's a process guy, and his thought is, I like to have this much experience and these types of players at these types of positions. And we were weak in his head. He's thinking this. He's not going to report this, talk about it. We didn't have what we needed at this position, that position, this position, and we're still waiting for these 14 players to mature to be the type of players that I believe that they're going to be. And therefore, we're going to have that, let's say, this year, but we did not have that last year. I don't think it's necessarily about record and results of the season.
Okay, and did you think during this call show you would have to talk about App State, Utah State, and South Florida football? Like, it's an odd group of teams to be mentioning 3 weeks before the season starts. I
blame myself for App State. I think I brought up App State because they've produced all these coaches that are in the Power 5 now. But South Florida, I don't talk a whole lot of South Florida. I've got some South Florida videos from my past. You delve deep into the archives.
Florida. I know. You said in your SEC expansion video that if the SEC got UCF, Miami, Florida State, that they would have Florida on lock. South Florida, man. South Florida.
That's right. I forgot about the mighty Bulls.
I know. But, Mark, let me ask you this. It seems like the 4 spot this season is wide open. Is there more teams with a shot at that 4 seed to lose to Alabama, Ohio State, or Georgia than most years?
Are there more teams that, I'm sorry, what?
That has a realistic chance to make the 4 seed this year than most years?
Well, there has to be a 4th team selected.
Right, that's what I'm getting at. Most years, it's so pretty obvious.
Where in the past it was more obvious.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say that. And we saw 2 teams make it last year that haven't, and I think that we've got a vulnerable Clemson, and we have an Oklahoma that's not supposed to elevate with 1 loss, and so we could have a free-for-all in the Big 12, and who knows about USC. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good indicator right there. I think that's a pretty good conclusion you came to.
Well, thank you. And I'll tell you, if for now it might be true, but let's say Clemson dominates Georgia Tech, like unlike last year. I think some of the 4 seed may be more towards Clemson than the field. Would you agree with that?
I tend to agree with that, but that's not a good odds decision to make. It's still the field.
Okay, because even last year during their struggle, they lost to Georgia in a 10-3 game, but everybody got concerned after Georgia Tech, and I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of that Georgia Tech game, because Clemson's offense was horrendous last year. I mean, if you can't pass the ball against Georgia Tech, you've got no shot to win the national title.
Yeah, so Clemson, I think I've got their scores here. This is insane when you really think about it. Last year, shoot, where are the scores of the games? Thought I had them here somewhere. Okay, here we go. They hit their stride against Wake Forest, the second to last game of the season. They scored 48 points against Wake Forest. But other than that, they scored 14 against Georgia Tech, 21 against NC State, 19 against BC, 17 against Syracuse, 17 against Pitt. Like, they scored less than 3 touchdowns 6 times. Half their schedule, they couldn't score 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's against one FCS team, UConn, who they played as well, I believe, and marginal ACC competition.
Yes.
That's the thing that's surprising. And when all the rules are bent toward an offensive game. So in 2018, maybe 2019, Bryant for Clemson played like the first 4 games, and then he got set down and benched for the rest of the season for a freshman, Trevor Lawrence. Could we see something like that happen this year with Clemson if DJ doesn't play well?
Oh, we will see that if he doesn't play well.
Okay,
unless Cade Klubnik is a complete disaster in practice, which I don't anticipate. If DJ plays this season the way he played last season or anything close, he can even play better this season than he played last season, and he'll get benched.
What would the percentage chance you put versus him playing all the games versus being benched?
See, I think he's going to be better.
Well, I mean, even you said he could be slightly better, but still be pretty bad.
Yeah, and he'll get benched. Yeah,
right.
They had no options last year. They were really thin at quarterback. They had nothing behind him. Yeah, he threw 9 touchdowns and 10 picks. He could throw like 17 TDs and 10 picks and get benched this year. I'd say, I will put it this way. I'll give it a 60+% chance that Cade Klubnik is going to start a meaningful game this year.
Okay. And the final thing, just a fun question. As you know, I'm not a big fan of the Pac-12, as everybody believes. But I will say this. They will get at least one College Game Day appearance. College Game Day will go on the road for UCF or USC versus Utah this year. Both of them, I think, will be 6-0 when they play one. What do you think about that?
Well, I believe that Game Day, because of having partnerships with all these conferences, just make sure that they go to every conference regardless.
Well, yeah, but what's the last time they've been to a Pac-12 game?
They went to one. Well, that's what I'm saying. They go to one every year.
Did they go to one last year?
They went to UCLA and Oregon.
Oh.
They went to at least one. I'm
okay,
guessing.
I'll rephrase it. A meaningful game.
So you got Utah, and who's going to be 6-0?
Southern Cal.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That when I looked at the Game Day, which of course is a big fascination of mine, where Game Day is going to go. I went through the season because people seem to be enamored with it, and I came up with those 2 as well that week.
Yeah, I think they'll both be probably at that time top 10, maybe even just outside top 5 teams. I think Caleb Williams at that point in the season, with all the hype, might even be the Heisman favorite. But I don't think they're going to win that game. I think Utah's going to win something 38-31, something like that. I think it'll be a good game. So.
Eric is telling us that Pac-12 hater doesn't know about the Pac-12. Surprise, surprise.
I missed one College Game Day appearance. And I apparently I know nothing. I know the last time they won a bowl game was 2019.
You are correct.
And I also know that Oregon did beat Ohio State, so congrats to Oregon. Would it get them a brand new head coach?
One of their 3 Power 5 wins last year.
Yeah. 3-19, Mark, was it?
That, I believe, is the record, yes.
What was their record against the Mountain West?
They were either 6-7 or 7-6.
So just 500.
Yes.
Just about 500 either way. But hey, hopefully the final thing I'll say is the playoff guaranteed spots is over with. So would you support, if there was a playoff structure that came out that was 12 or 16 teams, but every conference in the Power 5 had to have at least one team, would you support it?
Yes.
Okay. And would you concede that the Pac-12 or maybe even the Big 12 doesn't have a top 16 seed?
You mean that there could be a season that's conceivable, that's reasonable, that the Pac-12 did not have one of the top 16 teams in the country?
Yeah, with Southern Cal and UCLA leaving, yes. I think it's possible.
Sure it is.
But now, even with
there's a difference between what the rankings tell us and what the actual teams are. Like Auburn was 6-7 last year, and if we did a complete rankings, they would be like 55th in the country. But they're better than that. They can beat more teams than that if they went to another conference. So there's difference between saying, oh, because you're 10-3, we automatically rank you, 15th in the country, versus how good are you in actuality. And yes, there could be a Pac-12 season without USC and UCLA where there are no teams in the Pac-12 that are in the top 16 in the country that truly are not one of the 16 best teams in the country. Absolutely.
Yeah, I also was reading some of your chat while you're going through that. Eric said, I don't want to talk about Kentucky. I'll say in 2011, we lost to Vanderbilt 40-0. So I know what it's like to be literally the bottom of the barrel. When you lose to Vanderbilt 40-0.
Yeah, that is pretty awful.
Our 2 wins that year were against Kent State and Samford.
All right, Daryl.
Yeah, that's all I got. Hit the like and subscribe button. Let's try to get Mark. How about to 40,000 subscribers this college football season?
That would be phenomenal. Let's get to 40,000 by opening week. Let's do that. How about that? Wouldn't that be something? Thanks,
would be.
Daryl. Appreciate you. Yeah, 40,000 by the beginning of the season. I'm serious. Why not? Why not? Tell some friends. We talk college football here all the time. We're here. Best discussion, debate, and analysis. That's the goal. I will not say that we hit it every day, but we try. Hey, Tim.
How's it going?
I'm good. What's going on?
Oh, not much. Just breaking things. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, I was just calling. I'm calling because this talk about Clemson. I mean, I really think that I didn't know this, but apparently DJ Uiagalelei was beat up last year. And people keep beating up on him about his numbers and things. But I talked to someone that knows Clemson pretty good. He was playing with he had a sprained knee. He was wearing a splint in 2 games on his throwing hand. I mean, I think a little bit's overhyped about how he's like how Klubnik's just going to walk in and take that job from DJ. That's really I don't know. I keep hearing it, and you guys aren't the only. You didn't say that, but I'm saying I keep hearing fans, other people opine on the fact that DJ and this, that, and he's going to get leapfrogged to how many games before he gets replaced. I watched a guy in high school with his teammate Bo Collins, and the guy has probably one of the strongest arms I've ever seen in high school. And I've seen a lot of great California quarterbacks in high school. I watched him play. That was I know it was especially the Notre Dame game in 2020. I saw that season, and then I saw last season, and something looked wrong in his mechanics. And I'll tell you what, a sprained knee and a busted up throwing hand, gonna mess up your mechanics a little bit. I'm just curious what you think.
Okay. So what you're saying there about injuries makes a lot of sense because sure, did he make poor decisions? Did he do those other things that are more above the neck? Yes. But the way he was recruited and the evaluation of the scouts and what you're telling us concerning what you saw in high school is not what we saw in terms of so there can be knuckleheads out there, and I say that in a nice way, but football knuckleheads out there that just don't ever get it at the quarterback position, but they still have a cannon. They can still launch it. They're still going to throw it, except for when they're hesitant, and still fire it. And you'll be wowed by their arm velocity and their distance, but they just make bad decisions. No, he didn't look right in terms of, just like Keaton Slovis didn't look right 2 years ago. He didn't look right throwing the ball. Like, it didn't have that kind of velocity on it. It didn't have that kind of arm talent behind it. The points that I was making in the Clemson show that we had earlier today was, how does a quarterback who, having never read a college defense in a game, come off the deck when Trevor Lawrence has to go into COVID protocol and throw for 340 and bring his team back from 3 touchdowns down against a good Boston College team, and then the next week throw for 440 at Notre Dame against a top 5 to 10 defense in the country, and then last year his best game is 240, 47% completion percentage against UConn? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, it sounds like an injury. I mean, anyone that's ever played baseball or football or thrown a ball, any kind of ball, and you have a bad ankle or a bad knee, it changes the way you throw the ball. And then having to throw off, I don't know which knee it was, but if it's off his back foot and he's trying to lean into throws, and then again, when you're talking about cerebral issues, it kind of is, especially a young quarterback, that stuff starts just kind of just snowballing on you. You're going to make bad decisions because maybe you are going to force a pass because you think you have to because you can't make other passes. I'm not here again. I'm not here. I don't know. I don't got a crystal ball. I just saw 2 different quarterbacks. I saw the one I saw at Bosco and the one that played 2 games in 2020. And then I saw some of those games. I gotta be honest. I didn't watch a lot of Clemson last year, but what I did see, something just didn't seem right. He was off. I mean, his crossing was, his timing was off. A lot of these were off. The only thing I can think of is, maybe be completely mental, but I doubt that. I mean, I'm sure he's getting great coaching. So it has to be the fact that there's something wrong. And when one thing's wrong, again, if one thing's wrong, it's fine. But if you got a bad knee and then you got something going on in your throwing hand, that's gonna cause some issues.
The other thing that I brought up in our discussion earlier today was whether the receivers lost confidence in him or he lost confidence in them, because it was like a two-way street. It was like they fed off of each other in a negative way. And I saw Clemson probably play 7 or 8 times. And the Clemson receiver room that over the past decade has arguably been the best in college football, where you see guys that are just freaks and they pluck balls out of the air in the clutch. And they, even when they're well covered, just physically dominate and outjump defenders on a regular basis and outfight them for the ball and have that combination of athleticism and tenacity and just want the ball more. Those Clemson receivers last year showed none of that. They didn't fight for the ball for him.
That sounds like that's on the position coach gets to get on those guys. Again, I don't know. I've seen Bo. Bo Collins, again, I think he's have a breakout year as well this year. I know I'm a homer. I'm a Bosco alum too. So, I mean, I've been following both those guys. But it'll be interesting to see. And a lot of people want me to punch down on Darrell. I mean, he's like what? He's a North Carolina fan?
Kentucky.
Oh, I knew it was one of those basketball schools that he's a fan of. But they're calling for it. I'm pretty sure that Kentucky has never beat a Pac-12 team. And I'm pretty sure that Oregon State has beat them twice.
I'm trying to think, when has Kentucky played?
They have. It's been a million years. These are why, because everyone in the Pac-12, everyone in the SEC says, dude, Kentucky, don't embarrass us. Don't play out of conference at Pac-12 so we can say we're dominant. We're gonna keep our bottom feeders at home so that we don't actually show that we do have some teams in our league that probably don't belong.
Well, almost everybody in the SEC, whether they're bottom feeders or at the top of the conference, stay home anyway. None of them travel.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, I looked it up. It was pretty funny. They've only played 2. I think it was a while ago, but they're 0-2 against what people call our worst team in our conference. So there you go. I wouldn't call Oregon State our worst team in the conference, but people have.
We're dealing with a different Kentucky now.
Are we really? When they play 4, what do? They like roll the Little Sisters of the Poor, a couple of parochial schools out there. No, I'm talking about their out of conference, Mark.
I know. I know that they don't play anybody out of conference, but they still have to play in that league. And they still play a whole game.
So in the SEC, you play 8 conference games, right?
Yes.
You get 4 layups. That means
3 layups in Louisville. That's who they play.
So okay, but Louisville's good, but not all the time. I mean, a lot of times
they're
Louisville's okay.
Purdue, Louisville's Kansas State, they're okay.
Once in a while they'll have a generational quarterback, but beyond that, Louisville's all right. Let's just say they're okay. So that means then all you have to do is go 8-8 in your 4-4 in your conference, and you're 8-4. God forbid you go a little bit plus than 500. Let's say you go 5-3. All of a sudden now you're a 9-win team.
That's what they did last year.
So I mean, if you don't play anybody every year, you're out of conference. And again, when you play your out of conference, let's say they're even G5 schools. You're playing like Sun Belt teams and whatever. I mean, it's like you're just loading up on these.
They play the MAC a lot. Is who they play.
What's that?
They play the MAC a lot. Is who they play, and like Louisiana Monroe and those kind of games.
I would love one time for DeReal to come on here and just talk some Kentucky football for us. I'm sure he'll point to how they've won some bowl games.
They have. So see, that was going to be my next point. So I'm sticking in here for the real MVP. I am not trying to sell Kentucky as some elite football program, but they have played some really good bowl games against some quality competition. Penn State, NC State, Northwestern when they were good. Beat Iowa this past year. Again, I'm not selling them as, college football playoff contender, but it's a good football program now.
Yeah. Kentucky would have beaten USC last year. Yeah, you know what? My middle school team would have beaten USC last year, so that's not saying much. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But USC 2022 is a little bit different than USC 2021. I would love for Kentucky to play USC this year. I would love for that game. Maybe somehow there's some. What's the SEC Pac-12 tie-in? Do you know, Mark?
Is there an SEC Pac-12 tie-in?
I don't know.
It's new. If there is one, they didn't play last year. They didn't play last year. There's no Pac-12 SEC tie-in in the bowls. None.
No. Well, I don't know. Anyway, it was nice talking. I think DJ is going to be just fine. I think basketball schools are basketball schools, and football schools are football schools, and we're just going to leave it at that.
I've got to fire up the Miami live stream, so everybody head on over to the Miami channel. We're going to start it up.
I will see you there. Thank you, Mark.
You guys getting together tonight?
I don't know. This is like we're doing a marathon. I mean, it's either we're going to go to Travel and Fools or we're doing it in ours. And it's been like since I think last Tuesday was last time I was not in some kind of chat after hours. It's really good though. I mean, we got a great group. Those of you guys that aren't joining the Discord, if you like talking football, we talk some really stupid shit too. Stupid stuff too. But if you like football and you're not joining these chats, I don't know what you're talking about. You get to have your opinions heard. Some of you guys, I don't know why you're too shy to come on this. It's not like we're on NBC or ESPN right now.
Yeah, it's just me.
But you could do even if this isn't your thing, maybe you could do it in a smaller setting with these these group chats to do, because this is exactly what we're doing. It's just like 5 to 10 of us just sitting in a room kind of like this, and we're all just talking ball. So you're all invited. Please join the Discord, the Patreon, the Discord. And again, this fall is going to be great, because we are going to be, it's just fans. None of us are professionals, or we're not, we don't know more than anybody. It's just a bunch of guys who absolutely passionately love football, just acting like knuckleheads and having a good time. So please join us.
Good stuff, Tim. Appreciate it. Discord, patreon.com. You go there, you look up Mark Rogers TV, and you're all set. You sign up there. I get you the link, and you jump on. And I need to get in there more often to both the conversations, which I've jumped in, I don't know, 4 or 5 times, 6 times, whatever it's been. But also the Discord. I need to keep that on my to-do list every day, to jump in the Discord, because that was something that I was adamant about doing once a day for the first several months, just to see what the conversation is. So it's a big chat room. It's like this chat right here, just not offline, but offline in terms of YouTube, online on our Discord. And you can talk all the time, whether that's just going back and forth, or if you're in there by yourself for a few minutes and you just leave a comment and just want people to respond, or whatever it is. And then the more people we get in there, obviously, the more you're going to connect with people that you want to talk to concerning whatever it is. And then the more detailed we can get with our various, I'll call them chat rooms, because if I say channels, that could confuse some people, the various chat rooms. Right now, we just have 6. We've got 7 chat rooms. So we've got a national chat room. We've got a kind of whatever you want to talk about that's not football. So whatever you guys talk about in there, movies or whatever it is. And then we've got the 5 Power 5 conferences. So if you're a Mountain West Conference fan, let's say, and you want to get in there, and we can start a chat room for the Mountain West or the MAC, or we can highlight Notre Dame, Ohio State in week 1, or we can just highlight USC recruiting or whatever. If we get enough interest in particular subjects, then we can certainly spotlight and isolate those conversations as well. We would love to get to that point. Believe me, that would be phenomenal. So join us there, and join us in just a couple minutes. As soon as I can turn around this link, we will be on the Miami channel for the Miami show with a wholesome one right here at the Voice of College Football, and only 1 week away from a debate we were going to have tonight, but it's going to be next Thursday. Next Thursday, we will have an interesting Miami show with Corey Bratta from the Hawkeye of the Storm and the wholesome one debating next Thursday. But tonight, get there in just a few seconds. We'll see you.